Good evening again. My name is Hope Nduta and I'll be your host today. It's been a lovely week. It's been some lovely weeks so far, and I think we can just go ahead and jump into the topic of discussion today. So we'll be talking about identity and access management, and with us is Tracy Magoma, who is a Principal Officer, Cybersecurity, Governance, Risk and Compliance at Safaricom. And Tracy will just take us through this and give us her insights on this particular topic. So karibu sana Tracy on the Cyber Shujaa mentorship session, and we look forward to the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Hope, and good evening, everyone. Hope, I don't know if I need to have my video on, lest people start assuming it is AI speaking.
We'd love to see you.
Okay, sawa. So thanks everyone for making time to join the session. Hope has introduced me. My name is Tracy Magoma, and I'm going to take you through the session where we will cover key concepts of identity and access management. So yeah, I'll share my screen. Hope confirm once it's up.
Yes, it is.
Sawa. Okay. Just to let you know who I am in depth, you can ignore the photo on the right a little, but that's me a few years back. I currently work at Safaricom as a principal officer within the cybersecurity, governance, risk and control team, where we basically drive compliance within the organization. We are the ones who handle matters identity governance. We are able to manage audits. Another thing we do is create cybersecurity awareness across the company and our stakeholders. So I've been in the role for a couple of months. Before that, I was doing application security within the Safaricom team. And actually, today is not my first time at Cyber Shujaa. I've been here before, 2 years back. Time has really flown, where we covered a threat modeling session. So besides that, I am a mentor with the SheHacks community. I hope you all know the SheHacks community, a community that empowers women interested in cybersecurity. I encourage all the women in the house to sign up. Yeah, there are normally good conversations there. If you're in need of a mentor, you get connected to one. Besides work, I do climb mountains a lot. I have done 30 plus hikes. I was telling that to someone today and they were surprised. I have done Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya, amongst others. I love reading books during my spare time when I'm not in the mountains or at the office. And I also okay, yeah. I was saying I also love homemade food, so I identify as a home chef. Going to the photo in the right side of the slide, an interesting one. That is me a few years back. I was having a chat with my folks on how they had my future planned. Those were the computers back in the day. To those who were born when laptops were readily available. So back in the day, homes had monitors, and we would use that to play computer games, type stuff, anything that was fun. So that is me. I hope all of you now know who Tracy is. We can go into the content of the dish. Okay, so around identity and access management, we will start by understanding what it is and why it is important for organizations to have this. We will look at the core components of identity and access management, the key principles like the principle of least privilege, zero trust, etc. We will look at the life cycle. We will look at the common tools and technologies in this area. We will look at identity governance, I mentioned my team does this a lot. And lastly, we will all discuss what the future of IAM looks like. So I hope we are ready to learn, and hope my audio is clear.
Yes.
Okay, so be on the lookout for any questions on the chat that I may not be able to see. But if anyone has a question in between the presentation, you can just stop me or raise your hand and ask. Okay, so what is IAM? That's a common abbreviation, and I've mentioned it stands for Identity and Access Management. So basically, it's a set of policies, processes, and technologies used to ensure that right individuals have the appropriate access to resources in an organization. So in simple terms, what I say this is, it's whereby you ensure the right people have the right access to the right resources at the right time. Yeah, those are a lot of rights. Yeah, we have to ensure that the right thing is done with identity and access management. So to dive deeper, the image on the right again, that's not me, but I borrowed that image from the Duo websites, but it explains well what IAM achieves. So basically, number one, it manages and secures digital identities. Yeah, and digital identities here, I would say the representation of an individual or a user. Yeah, the user here could be an employee. For your case, you could be a student. It could be a contractor. It could be a customer. Yeah, so your digital identity. And then number two, with IAM, you're able to control access to the various systems and data. And lastly, IAM help us achieve confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. To go to the benefits on why IAM is important to organizations. Number one, it enhances security. So most attacks should find the root cause or the weakest point was credentials. Yeah, probably they were not handled well. So it's an access issue. So with IAM, you're able to ensure that there is always authorized access. So it helps reduce the risk of unauthorized access. Number two, it helps with regulatory compliance. We have a lot of regulations around that speak to IAM. We have global standards like ISO. We have GDPR locally, our Kenya Data Protection Act. So with a right or a mature IAM program, you're able to be compliant. And then number three, operational efficiency. Yeah, whereby you're able to control the various accesses. Yeah, from the point of guys joining, we'll get to look at the life cycle in depth. But let's say when guys join, they change roles. So you need to modify their accesses and permissions. And then when they leave, if you have all that process automated, then you're able to achieve operational efficiency. Okay, and then streamlined user experience related to number three. Yeah, your users don't have trouble in terms of logging in terms of requesting for access or any changes they may need. And then lastly, with a good IAM program in place, you have better visibility and control because you are aware who in the organization has what permissions or rights to access what system at a particular time. Yeah, so at a high level, I will say that is what identity and access management is. Okay, so we can proceed to the core components that make up IAM. We have four of them: authentication, authorization, user management, and directory services. I'm sure we are all aware of authentication and authorization, right? It's pretty much a common term in cybersecurity. So authentication, this is whereby you're able to verify someone's identity before they're granted access to a particular system. And how are you able to achieve this? By use of passwords, biometrics, or even tokens. Authorization, this is whereby now you determine what resources this particular user that has been identified and granted access to. So you're able to determine what particular resources can they access. Yeah, you can achieve this using role-based access control. So we will discuss this in depth, or you could have policy-based permissions. Number 3, user management. Yeah, so you have various users, so you need to be able to handle these user accounts and their access throughout their life cycle. I have mentioned, let's say when a new user joins the organization, how do you grant them access? When they change roles, how are you able to modify their permissions? And lastly, when they leave, how are they removed? What kind of process do you have in place for that? The other key component for IAM, the last one, directory services. Yeah, this is where you have a centralized location where you are able to store and manage digital identities. The most common one we all know is Active Directory or the LDAP protocol. So before we proceed, I would like to use an analogy here so that we all get to understand. Take a scenario of a secure building. Yeah. For the authentication bit, this is where you walk to the gate and show your ID to the security officer at the gate. Yeah. So, and then you'd find the access they will grant you. Probably you need access to the second floor of that particular building. So with the correct authorization, your access should only grant you entry to the second floor of that particular building. And then now user management is where now the accesses are kept up to date. Remember, let's say you were given access to the second floor of that building. So there is no point in time that you should have access to the other floors without the right process being followed. Yeah. So with the user management, such mishaps are able to be picked. And then now with the directory services, this is where now you have a system that is able to track everyone inside that building and what they have access to. Yeah. So that is it for the core components of identity and access management. We can go to the key principles. Hope, is there any questions so far?
No. But then let me just clarify. Maybe if we have anyone new, the chat will not work for everyone, but the Q&A is open for everyone in the meeting. So if you want to raise a question, you can use the Q&A.
Okay, thanks for that. Sawa. So onto the principles of identity and access management, the principle of least privilege. This is so common. If you've been in the cyber industry, you've probably heard this a lot. So this is where users are granted access to only what they need, nothing more. Yeah. Number 2, role-based access control. I find it related to number 1. This is where users are assigned permissions based on their job roles. So in an organization, let's say you... Oh, sorry, I had an echo. So in an organization, let's say you work in HR, yeah? So you're only probably, you only need access to the HRMS system. You probably don't need access to the finance systems. So with the principle of least privilege and RBAC, you should only be granted access to HR systems. You shouldn't have access to finance systems. Yeah. Number 3, we have separation of duties. This is where critical tasks are split to prevent abuse or fraud. A case like make a checker, you can't be the same person who's approving and executing, or you're the person who's requesting for something and you're the same person who's approving that. Yeah. So with a proper IAM program in place, there should be clear separation of duties. And then lastly, zero trust. Yeah, we've all had the tag, never trust, always verify. Yeah. So this is whereby every access request must be authenticated and authorized. So these are the key principles. Anyone interested in IAM could focus when coming up with an IAM program. Okay, we will now go to the life cycle. This had appeared in the initial slides. The life cycle here, there are key areas in terms of provisioning, access, modifying, deprovisioning or revoking, and review. So the first three, I will take an example of what we call JML in an organization. JML stands for joiner, mover, lever. Okay. So joiner, imagine you've just joined, you're new to an organization, you just joined. Yeah. So in terms of the IAM lifecycle, there needs to be a proper process where you're created and you're assigned access to the systems that you need. Keep in mind the principles that we have discussed. Yeah. Now, let's say the second, someone has a question? Okay. The second bit I've mentioned is mover. So you've joined an organization, you've worked there for a few years, and you're like, now you're changing teams. You joined as a finance person, but you're like, now I need to go to the cybersecurity team. So in that stage as well, there needs to be a proper process in place to ensure that your access to the finance systems is revoked and you now are granted access to the cybersecurity systems that you need to execute your job. So you shouldn't actually be having you shouldn't be having accesses twice, like you are a cybersec person, but you also have access to finance. So if you take note of the principles, especially the role-based access control, that really applies to the movers part. Now levers, now where we have the provisioning bit or revoking access. When someone leaves the organization, or probably they no longer need access to a particular system, that needs to be revoked ASAP. Yeah, now lastly, we have the review stage of the IAM lifecycle. This is a continuous process. So the various accesses that have been granted to various users, they need to have this regularly reviewed and updated. So as the team that is responsible for this, you need to define the frequency depending on the criticality of the system and probably you would reference to the number of users, the type of data it handles, and determine whether you need to review this. Will it be monthly, quarterly, in a year, or biannually, depending on that. So this process, this is a continuous one. Okay, I think we are halfway or almost done. I won't keep you all for a longer period here. So we can look at the various technologies when it comes to identity and access management. So the first one here is single sign-on. So I'm pretty sure all of us have used our Gmail accounts to log into a different application that is not a Google account. So in such a scenario, you will find that it is the single sign-on feature that has been enabled there. So basically, this is where you're able to use you log in once and you're able to access multiple applications. And then we have directory services. This is the centralized location. Remember, we said that is used to manage these entities. And the most common one we have is the Active Directory and the LDAP protocol. Number three, it is key to have privileged access management, or what is commonly known as PAM. This is whereby there is able to protect and monitor access for high-level accounts. Basically, we're able to manage admin accounts securely. They need to be given more attention as compared to regular accounts. Yeah. And then lastly, we have federation services. This is whereby you're able to enable trust between domains. And we have common protocols that are used for this. The SAML, OpenAuth, OpenID, Connect. And I've seen this being achieved in passwordless authentication. We can go to the next bit. Identity governance. This takes a lot of my team's time. Yeah, it actually is part of our day-to-day. Yeah, and what it is basically, it provides oversight to identity and access management. You have implemented all that we have discussed, yeah, but who's there to ensure that this process is followed, yeah, or these accesses are as they should have been? Yeah, so with identity governance, it ensures policies are followed and the access remains appropriate over time. Yeah, so imagine someone has left an organization and they were working in, I'm using the finance example a lot because that's where money is. So they were working in finance probably. They have left the organization, but for some reason, their access to the finance systems was not revoked. Yeah, so that's really a big problem. And you would say it's a governance failure. Yeah, so if the governance team was able to ensure that the policies were followed and they were able to do frequent access reviews, then that case will not happen. Yeah, and some of the key components that achieve identity governance, I have mentioned access review. Yeah, so there needs to be regular reviews or checks to ensure that users still need their permissions. Yeah, is this user still within the organization? Okay, did they leave? Then revoke their access. Have they changed teams? Ensure that they only have the access to the systems that they need in their new team and revoke the ones that they had in their old team. And then we have access certification. So this is where you have formal approvals from managers or system owners to users who need access to particular systems. And then we have policy enforcement. So here is where you have automated rules to prevent policy violations. An example here will be blocking users from having like both requester and approver roles. And then lastly, audit and reporting, very key. Yeah, so this is used to evaluate the compliance status of a particular organization. So for me, identity governance is key. I feel like it helps balance security, helps balance compliance and user productivity. Yes, Collins, I see you have a question.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Tracy. Thank you so much for this session, and congratulations on the impressive numbers you just posted and your half-year results released earlier today. My question is in regards to the example that you just gave, especially on an employee having left an organization. Considering the bank sector lost approximately 1.59 billion shillings to cybercrime last year, including high-profile cases like the alleged insider fraud at Equity Bank, what critical roles does the identity governance and administration play, specifically in the enforcing of the principle of least privilege and conducting access reviews, or rather conducting continuous access reviews, play in mitigating unique GRC challenges by malicious insider threats within Kenyan banking systems? Because I'm asking this in particular because the insider case, for example, for the Equity, the 1.5 trillion case, the finance guy was on leave, yet his credentials were still active because they were given to someone else to access the system. So at such a point, how does identity play a role in that?
Okay. Thanks, Collins. That's a very good question. And thank you for your congratulatory remarks. I hope we keep on doing well. Yeah. So coming to your question, number one, regarding the exits, yeah, there needs to be a process in place, and it is good to automate when when staff exit, there needs to be an automated process in place to ensure that access to the various systems is revoked. So if you have a centralized, I gave an example of the Active Directory service. So if you have that and you automate a process where if someone leaves, so you get to work with HR to communicate that information. If someone leaves the organization, ensure that their access at that level is revoked. Yeah, so that one will reduce the risk of an exited staff committing or rather having unauthorized access. So to the case that you have given of one of our local banks, sharing credentials. Yeah, number one, that is a user issue. We normally say in cybersecurity, the human is the weakest link. Yeah, so guys needs to be aware, and it is the role of cybersecurity to always educate or raise awareness to users on matters handling passwords. Because if this particular staff did not share their credentials, so highly likely that incident could not have happened. Yeah, so it is important to educate users in terms of password handling. And another thing is to implement an extra layer. We all know multi-factor authentication. So besides just having the password, could you probably have an OTP or have the authenticator apps like the Microsoft ones or the Google ones, such that besides someone having your password, they also need the other layer or the other required information in order for them to gain access. So I don't know if I have responded to your question, Collins. Before we hear from Nasir.
Yes, you have, but before we just proceed, what rather, or how do we enforce in an organization such ethical principles of integrity, such that in regards to password sharing when someone leaves, or rather when they're on what do you call it? When they leave an organization permanently and they're on temporarily leave, from where you see it as the principal officer in GRC, what critical role does the identity and governance and administration specifically play in enforcing the principle of least privilege? Because remember, even the head of accounts can be compromised. So yeah, how do we maintain integrity among the individuals who hold the highest ranks in these critical departments?
Okay. I think Mudin can mute. Okay, thanks, Collins, for the follow-up question. Number one, I will reiterate for exits, there needs to be immediate access revocation. Yeah. So if someone permanently exits, revoke their access, such that if their password falls into wrong hands or if they share with someone, there's nothing much they can do with that. Okay. And then in terms of enforcing things, it goes down to users. Yeah. And getting to educate them every now and again, getting to do simulations with them. Phishing simulations, for instance, can help for users to be aware that they need to be responsible in terms of sharing their credentials, because in case they do, there is more harm to that. Okay, thanks, Collins. We can hear from Nasir.
Thanks, Tracy. Hi, everyone. Mine is a quick one. What has been the biggest, from your learning, what the biggest challenge in implementing such solutions? For instance, has it been executive buy-in? Has it been culture? Has it been legacy systems? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, all that you have mentioned are challenges, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of culture, we'll start with people. I think I have mentioned that when I was responding to Collins's question. Yeah, if your people are not cyber aware, then in as much as of you setting up a very good IAM program and someone still goes and shares their credentials, it beats the purpose. Yeah, when I go to something like legacy systems, let's say you're trying to automate this whole process. So you get a solution. An example I will think of is SailPoint. We'll actually get to discuss that in the last slide. And then you'd like to do integrations to that system so that your IM lifecycle is automated. Yeah, you find some integration with legacy systems becomes a challenge. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nasir. Yes, Hope, we'll take your question and then proceed.
So for me, I have a question in terms of how do you manage to do the identity, that process, during when organizations are merging or when you're doing cloud migration? How do you go about it?
That might keep us here the whole night. When organizations are merging, you'd find there are different arrangements with the various organizations, yeah? So if they're moving with staff from their other organization, then they will be treated as joiners, or I gave the GML process. They will be treated as new staff, and they would be mapped to various teams. They will have different profiles. So the access that they're going to be granted will match that. Yeah. In terms of cloud, we have the upcoming identity as a service. Please allow me to discuss that. I have it in the last slide on how we can achieve that. Okay. So yes, Isaiah. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I had a question. In your previous slide, you have talked about passwordless authentication.
Yes.
Just I would like an expound on that, and maybe the systems, the implementation of that, maybe the applications which can be used on that. And then the second question comes in where as a cybersecurity individual, sometimes you find it difficult dealing with the high-ranking individuals who have delegated some of their duties to their personal assistant. You find that it's their personal assistant handling everything. You find they have their email password, and some of the organization use single sign-on passwords. So how do you implement identity? How do you use the identity management to deal with such challenges in an organization?
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. For your first question on passwordless, I have it in my last slide. I don't know if you guys have Wakenya to my slides. Yeah, I have it in my last slide. We will discuss it then. Then now when it comes to your second questions, again, where guys are sharing their credentials, in as much as they need help or support from their junior staff, that is a crime, sharing credentials itself. So raise awareness. And number two, have policies in place to prevent that. Number three, have, how would I call it? Consequence measures. Yeah, if someone is found doing that, then there should be a process in place to ensure, I don't want to say punished, but they face some consequence so that they're aware this is a crime we're committing, we shouldn't be doing that. Okay, please allow me to proceed so that we are not caught up with time. We have discussed identity governance. And now let's go to the future of IAM, identity and access management. Yeah, number one, what it looks like, or rather, actually what is happening in this area. There is a lot of automation. in terms of provisioning, revoking of accesses, and reviewing access. These tasks, you find that they're quite manual, but we have solutions that are upcoming to ensure that this whole process is automated. So it helps save human error, it helps prevent human error, and it helps save time. We have some solutions. One that I am aware of is SailPoint. You can check search. And then number two, the buzzword, artificial intelligence. Yeah. So how does it fall in place when it comes to IAM? So we have AI-driven analytics that help identify abnormal login behaviors and potential insider threats in real time. So you can take an example. A certain user is logging in from 2 different locations. Someone is in Kenya, and then you see us login at the same time from South Africa. Yeah, that is really not normal. So if you have AI in place, it can help detect such behaviors and prevent that. And then we have now passwordless authentication. Isaiah, you have asked this. So I think at some point all of us have felt like I have run out of passwords. Yeah, you'd find probably you need to change your password after 45 days, after 60 days. So in a year, that's quite a number of times if you've been around like me for a while. So you find that you've used all the passwords you can think of. So with passwordless authentication, we still remain secure in as much as we don't need to remember our passwords here. So we've seen guys move a lot towards biometrics, use of tokens. We have the FIDO2 standards, Isaiah. So these are some of the things that are used to achieve passwordless authentication. And then we have number 4, zero trust. Never trust but verify. We have discussed this in an initial slide. Yeah, so here every access request is continually verified, making identity the central control point. And then lastly, I think it's Hope who was asking about cloud identity access management in cloud. So we've seen a shift towards cloud-based identity as a service solutions for hybrid and multi-cloud environments. With this, there's seamless integrations across the various cloud platforms we have, like AWS, Azure, and GCP. Yeah, so I think we can discuss further on this if anyone has something to add. Yeah, the floor is open. Yes, Ahmed.
Can you embed an IAM application within an Active Directory, or will that pose any security threats?
An example? Because
Let's say
actually,
you had SailPoint or Beyond Trust.
okay.
Will they be within the Active Directory, around it, or within it?
Yeah. Thanks for that. I have small knowledge on SailPoint. So yes, you can integrate your Active Directory to SailPoint. Yeah, that is very, very much possible. And the way SailPoint works, I know you integrate it. It pulls information from HRMS. HR is the HR system where you're able to get information that this user is still with us, they belong to this team, or this user is living at this particular date. So that information is fed on SailPoint, and with your Active Directory, it's able to pick that and either provision access or revoke access based on that. Yes, so it's possible to integrate Active Directory to solutions like SailPoint. Yes, Ahmed.
If someone was a mover out of a company and the protocol dictates they have 2 weeks to clear, does revocation happen through the entire handover process or during the last day?
So as per HR processes, they pick their last working day. Yeah. So let's say your you've left, or rather you've said your last working day is, today is date 60, but you've said your last working day is 30th, and then you go on leave today, and then you probably clear in between. So HR will pick 30th of November as your last working day. But I know some processes you can clear even when you have been, your access to systems has been revoked. I know some organizations that have that process in place. So that one is handled case by case, depends with how the process in a particular organization is. Yes, Collins. Collins, your hand is up. I don't know if it's an earlier one or it's a new one. Yes, Hope.
So for me, can you give us some of the attack vectors or security attacks, several vulnerabilities that you've come across?
Relating to identity or just generally?
You could start with identity, then generally.
Okay. So when you hear identity, highly likely credentials or passwords come into mind, right? So credential theft, sharing of passwords. So those are the most basic attack vectors when it comes to attacks in identity and access management. So, but generally, in the cyberspace, at the moment, we are having attacks that are AI-based. Yeah, attackers have been able to generate payloads that are AI-powered. So as cybersecurity as well, we need to up our game, our tools that we use to protect ourselves. Let's also ensure that they're able to detect these such attacks and be able to protect organizations against that. But besides that, generally, I bet you're aware of OWASP top 10, that still remains. Yeah. Thanks, Hope. Can take question from Stephen. Then Collins, if you can hear us, and then Nasir.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Thanks, Tracy, for the presentation. It's a good one. Yeah, so my question is in terms of the organogram of a cybersecurity wing of the organization. So where should identity and access management sit? I'm asking this, and also maybe from a Safaricom perspective, where do you guys have it? Because I've worked in organization whereby as an IM professional, I've been embedded in the security architecture team.
Mm-hmm.
And right now where I work, I'm in the assurance side of things. So in your opinion, maybe where do you think we should sit as IM professionals, and
Okay.
and how does your structure at Safaricom look like?
Okay, thanks for that. Actually, for mature organizations, you'd find that there's a team that deals with IAM, just that. So it's within the cybersecurity team, but there's that function of guys who just deal with IAM stuff. Yeah, so you might just get a role that you're an IAM specialist, so you're in charge of all that we have discussed. Okay, but now at Safaricom, so this is like a huge mandate under my team, the GRC team. So we are the ones who run with this, but we collaborate a lot with our cyber prevent team, especially when it comes to tooling, and of course the other stakeholders. Yeah, so Solomon, not Solomon, sorry, Stephen. For very much organizations, I'm not saying ours is not, we are at a good place. IAM is an independent function, but for us, it falls under GRC.
Yeah, I think you're right. Most organizations normally take IAM as as a small part of the organization. But I think when applications start to get so much like a place like Safaricom, banks, etc., there's need to have a full team to handle everything.
Exactly. Yeah, dedicated to that. True.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks. Yes, Nasir.
Hi. We're just an observation. We are seeing something that is very interesting where PAM seems to be taking a devolved course, where it almost seems to be appearing like it's shelving itself out of an I&M and becoming its own independent pillar. Are you observing the same thing where you are? And maybe this is maybe for the general public. So you'll have maybe sell point for I&M, and then you'll have maybe you need to procure another platform like CyberArk for your PAM. Is that what is happening? Is that becoming an industry standard?
Yeah, it's common across actually. Cybersecurity, we are all adopting very many tools to achieve our goals. So yeah, it's pretty much common across.
And since I have you, it doesn't that now begs a different question altogether in terms of observability. So if, for example, you have someone you need to have observability with regards to your I&M, which is your normal user, and then now you need to make sure your PAM all in one pen or one view. So now you have like a multitude of tools, but now it's all fragmented. So now that becomes another problem in terms of observability of what's happening in the entire landscape.
Yeah, sure. That's a very good observation, actually. We are all adopting all these, but in the long run, we are going to have a problem with managing all of this. So a challenge to you, now that you have identified this problem, could you think of how we're able to bring all this probably to one solution? Yeah. It might be difficult, but how we're going to achieve that? Yeah. I would like to pick that conversation with you separately.
Sure.
So that looks like the startup coming, huh?
Yeah, it's already here.
Oh, great. Nice.
All right.
Okay, so we can go to James.
Hello, Tracy. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, James, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, say thank you for the turning up. And I have a question concerning, you have touched something on AI. And I've come across behavioral analysis when it comes to application security. Now, do you have AI-based solution for the I&M when it comes to identity and access management? Or do you already have that kind of solution, or something that's
Okay, James, I get your question. What I know the various vendors that have IAM solutions are doing, they are bringing in AI capabilities. Yeah. So I've not seen one just come and say this is an AI IAM solution. No, we have existing IAM solutions that now are being I would say upgraded, or AI is now coming as an add-on to that. Yeah. Okay, thanks. See, we have more hands up. Tom? Okay, if Tom, you cannot hear us, we can go to Collins. Is that an earlier hand? Or you can go?
No, it's still the same hand.
Oh.
Okay, so my question revolves around AI, and given that on your previous slide, you mentioned AI number 2 as one of the tools or other measures that can be used. And then my question is, given the recent global incidents where employees have intentionally uploaded confidential corporate data into public large language models, creating a significant data governance and leakage risk,
Yeah.
how, for example, is Safaricom evolving the scope of its AI-driven IAM and data governance controls to specifically address this AI data leak risk? And does that involve using artificial intelligence or machine learning to monitor or restrict access based on data classification when integrating with unapproved cloud AI services, or rather, what GRC frameworks governs this new threat vector? Like, from where you see it, how do you see this playing along in our industry?
Yeah, true. That is a very big risk when it comes to AI, and I will categorize it as a privacy risk. Just as I was responding to, I think it was James, in terms of us adding, improving our security tools with AI features, right? So that's what I've seen most vendors try to implement that. Now, when it comes to guys uploading sensitive information to LLMs, as organizations, I'll just take a general approach, pardon me. We have the data loss prevention tools, okay? So as an organization, you should get a tool that's able to help you prevent upload of sensitive information. So number one, you have to classify your information. Is it confidential? Can this be public? You get, and once that, ensure that all your documents in the organization are classified such that if someone is trying to upload it to an LLM, your DLP
Is it just me or she's breaking up?
Oh, sorry, Collins, where did you lose me at? Hope, can you hear me?
Collins, I think it's you. We can hear her clearly.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Collins. What was I saying? I was mentioning about the data loss prevention tools being able to detect any sensitive data being uploaded to various LLMs. So that is one thing I will encourage organizations to implement. Yeah. And then number two, again, awareness. This is so common. Yeah? You may assume as cyber professionals, we can do much when it comes to technical implementation, but trust me, our strongest control is the human. If the users or the people we are trying to protect are also cyber aware, then it becomes so easy. So your technology implementations becomes an add-on. So teach users or staff on using AI responsibly. Everyone is rushing to use AI, right? It is very good. I am actually a user. It really helps me a lot. But teach them on the type of data that they should not upload. Yeah, raise as much awareness as you can. Okay, Collins, I hope you managed to hear us. We can hear from Eric as we close.
Okay, thank you very much, Tracy. First of all, I want to appreciate you for the good presentation.
Thank you. Oh, did we lose him? I think so. Hope you can go.
So we've talked of two emerging trends, AI and cloud, but how about IoT? So how do you secure such IoT devices and their identities? That's the first. Then, and also, how do you manage non-human identities, maybe like bots,
Yeah.
And then another, we have the risks. What are for instance, Safaricom, it's a large network, So what are the risks that could be there, especially if we have shadow identities, people that you guys don't know of, but they're in the system? So yeah, I think that could do. And thank you for the presentation.
Thank you so much, Hope. I really hope you're an IAM professional from the questions that you are having. To start with your last question on shadow identities, if you have a proper IAM a process or a program in place, definitely you should be having regular access reviews. Yeah, you should also have an overview of all the users across the organization, knowing who has what access to what time. So if you are consistent with this, you'll be able to identify those and take necessary action. Yeah, for the IoT bits, my apologies, I'm not so well versed in IoT. I may need to go to check on that. Did you have another question?
Yeah, I raised my hand, but I don't know. I got disconnected at some point.
Oh, yes, Eric, you got disconnected, but you can go.
Yeah, so my question was brief. For the GRC, I've been having some interest in GRC and just to have some knowledge about it. I noticed that there are some certifications that I need to do, like the likes of ISO and CompTIA. Would you kindly recommend some sites or some boot camps I can get these courses, ISO and the CompTIA, such like? Yeah.
Free ones, not sure, but on Udemy, there are very good tutors there. And just to give you a better roadmap for that, in GRC, number one, I normally advise people to have the general cybersecurity knowledge because you can't govern what you do not understand. Okay.
True.
Yes. So you could start with the beginner certifications like the CompTIA Security Plus, a very brief certification, but it gives you good knowledge in cybersecurity. You're able to tell what the application security team does, the SOC team on a high level, that is, okay? And then now when you come into the specific GRC, there is the ISC Certified in Cybersecurity certification. That is a good one now for someone who wants to settle in GRC. It will teach you a lot around risk, which is something that is key in GRC, around compliance things. So yeah, you could also look into that one. Yeah, you've mentioned the ISO ones, the lead implementer, lead auditor. Yeah, those are very important. Actually, I'm a student.
Where? Pardon there?
So that one is being provided by, sponsored by our organization. So, but I'll check for you any resources online and I'll share with Hope to forward to you.
Yeah, that will
Yeah,
be helpful.
so yeah, once you have that, then with years of experience, then you can go to the, I know ISACA has good ones, the CISM, the Certified Information Security Manager, and then there's the CRISC one. So, and then an additional one, of course, not the last one, you can do more if you want, but CISSP, that is also a good one now for guys who've had experience in the industry. So I'll check for you materials for the ISO courses and share with Hope. She'll forward to you, Eric.
Yeah, I will really appreciate. Don't forget this, please.
I will not. If I do, Hope, remind me. Okay, we can hear from Emmanuel. I see time is up.
Then maybe the last thing, what's your LinkedIn name? Maybe we can connect on LinkedIn and just, yeah.
My name is Tracy Magoma on LinkedIn.
Just the same, the way it has been written here.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe, I don't know, the last one, for the junior roles and now you see we are pursuing this course. Safaricom, do you take junior security analysts?
Yes. At the moment, we don't have openings. But again, if we do have, I'll share with Hope. We do take in interns. I think like twice a year. And then we do have graduate trainee programs. So those are the most entry level, I would say. And then after that, you could get to be now a full analyst.
Okay, thank you very much.
We have such openings. I will share with you.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. Have a good night.
Good night to Eric. Emmanuel, James, and Nicholas, and then we call it a night.
Okay, thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Trace, for the wonderful presentation. I think I came at the right time. Actually, my name is Emmanuel, and I joined Safaricom last week as an intern.
Oh, welcome to the team. Are you in cybersecurity?
Yeah, I'm in cybersecurity, actually.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to working with you.
Monday.
Yeah. Okay, maybe next week.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is in regard to AI and automation specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, I really appreciate the direction towards the automation in AI, actually, especially in identity governance. We can see that automation is so valuable in terms of reducing the manual effort and improving the accuracy. But however, on the other side, we can see that AI-driven access reviews and automation in decision-making is becoming more common. So what are some of the considerations that organizations should keep in mind to maintain maybe accountability and avoid maybe over-automation in governance?
True.
Yeah,
true. That's a good observation, Emmanuel.
that's
yes, we are all trying to move to the AI and automation, but I feel like there needs to be the human oversight. Let's not just have systems in place and let's say a team that had 5 people doing that task. Now we have automation, so we just only need 1 person. No, let's ensure we also have the human oversight in place. Yeah, so that's key to me.
Okay, I think that's okay.
Okay, so Emmanuel, we can catch up next week. The time is out. Let's hear from Nicholas and James.
Okay, yeah, I think that's okay. Maybe when can I get maybe your contact or?
On Monday, I'll be at the office.
On Monday, okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yes, Nicholas.
Hi, Tracy. So wonderful presentation so far. I have 2 questions. One is like a follow-up on what some of the guys have been asking. And I know it's very dependent on the organizations that you work in, but for where Kenya we are right now, the 3 roles which we have is identity and access, management roles, data protection roles, and GRC roles. At a high level, what are their various responsibilities? Or is it that when you're hired for one, you expect to be working in all, have similar responsibilities? Then the second question is, since you're already a professional in this space, and we are told a lot of cybersecurity attacks happen due to access, what's that one issue that you're finding is happening across board in terms of what's that one thing you need to train your employees in regards to access that you're finding it's a problem across board? So I think those are my 2 questions.
Okay. Thanks for that. Starting with your first one, in terms of the 3 key teams you have identified in the industry, I am data protection and GRC. So again, you mentioned it correctly. This depends with the organization setup. You might find in some organizations, these are 3 different teams working independently. You might find in some, you are a GRC person, but you're doing IAM stuff, you're doing data protection stuff. In some, like ours, you're collaborating with the 3. Yeah, so it varies. So you might get yourself doing responsibilities of the 3, or you could get yourself just doing, if you're a data protection officer, just that, probably provide necessary information to the IAM team or GRC team. You could find yourself collaborating across the 3 teams. You've mentioned that most attacks are access related. So true. Yeah. The human, again, is the weakest link. So in terms of training users, password hygiene tips, that is key. actually, I would say password hygiene tips, ensuring guys have multi-factor authentication. In organizations, that should be actually a mandatory requirement. Shouldn't be like a choice. Such things are mandatory, password complexity, such things. So if you do that, I feel like you'll be at a better place.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's hear from James.
Yeah, Tracy, it's me again.
Yeah,
Concerning concerning certification. I inquired some years back, like 2 years ago, and someone told me that for you to sit for CSSP, he told me that you need an experience of 5 years. Is it true?
Yeah, that's very true.
That's true.
Yeah, so when I was responding to, was it Eric, about the path or the roadmap you can take to certification. So CSIM and CSSP, you need industry experience. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend those ones for beginners. So get in the industry, work for a couple of years, and then you can take them. I actually did the CSIM exam last year, and trust me, it's not book focused. It actually tests what you have experienced in the industry. So you can explore the others.
I think
experience, yeah.
Okay,
but they give leeway. Your education counts. I think if you check the requirements for CSIM, I know you're probably, if you have a master's degree, they count that as experience. Yes, Dennis.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
you. Question. As you have said, the human is the weakest link in the chain. No matter how much multi-factor authentication you enable or any other security measures, the person becomes the weakest link. So how do you handle when as a situation where you have an internal threat to an organization, maybe somebody is motivated to take down or to get your data from within? How do you handle such situations?
Sorry, I think, Dennis, please repeat the last part on the insider threat bit.
You have an insider threat or a person who is motivated, who is motivated to maybe leak data from your organization or any other valuable information.
Yeah.
How do you handle that in terms of cybersecurity?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. So it is to have the right controls in place. Number one, I mentioned of the DLP solutions that you could have to prevent sharing of such information. Number two, what you could implement here is sufficient logging, such that you're able to know or track the various activities of users across the organization to know what they are doing, and then configure alerts for the same. So if there's a use case where you notice someone is sharing, so on your, we call it a SIM tool, you're able to configure, you're able to get immediate alerts that there's data being leaked on this particular server by this particular user. So as a security professional, you're able to take immediate action. So implementing such tools will help. And awareness, again, I will reiterate that. It's a responsibility in my team. So we do that. And then, sorry, the third item skipped my mind. My apologies. Yes, Eric. Oh, sorry, before Eric, you go, I think I have remembered. I mentioned it was around having consequences. So you work with HR to have stringent policies in place to let staff know if you are caught doing such an act, there are various consequences. Like for the data leakage one, that is a serious one. Someone needs to go to court. So that needs to be defined in policies. And when guys are joining, they get a training on that. Yeah, Eric, you can close for us. Or the last question before you.
No, I think I left my hand up, but yeah, you had answered my question.
Okay, sawa. Thanks. You've been such a engaging audience. I have left feeling challenged. Thank you for that. And I hope you learned something from my presentation. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn. You can chat me on LinkedIn as well if you have a question, and we can pick the conversation from there. Back to you, Hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tracy. It's been such an engaging session. Truly a lot that has been learned. And also just the questions have been very insightful. Thank you, everyone. And it's always a pleasure to have you mentor in these sessions. My advice for those who are still growing in the industry, I believe we all are, just find a way to contact Tracy if you think that there's something there you can build on. We always advise our students to also get a one-on-one with mentors, find a mentor who can basically guide you in some way. And yeah, wishing you all the best. So thank you so much, Tracy, for your time. Kindly share the slides with me so that I can share them with the students. And we hope to have you here again.
Thank you, Hope, and have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Yes, Paul, is it a question to me? Okay, I'll go ahead and end the meeting.